Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Baruch Hashem.
Good.
Here.
Mine or Yud Gimel.
Mine or Yud Gimel.
Page
Parshas the Parshas Yis Mitzrayim Shizar Kosuv. Vatem lo teitzu Ishin Besa Besa Boker Kosav Rashi. Magid Shmeachar Shenidno Rishus Lamashkis L'Chavel. Once the destroying angels give permission to destroy. And Malchim Tzai Karasha. Doesn't distinguish between Tzai Karasha. Lailu Shuslam B'Chavim, and nighttime is a time when terrorist angels abound. It's an obvious question, right? Hashem couldn't have saved them without this, big theatrics of the blood on the doorposts. So it comes back to the Zisoid from the beginning that Shmiras Hateva is important. To keep Teva is like the same as I say. Now I'm going to sermon fresh the Shmiras Tevoim, Derech Eretz Sheigu B'Torah. So see the basic warning: don't flaunt. Don't. That's I'm not sure that's what I want. Don't flaunt nature. Don't test nature, right? Nature is a powerful force, which Hashem created as a good force. So don't test it out. Yosem is Baralani Yisod Zemi Amaseh the Shmuel. Yeah, that's a famous, very difficult story. Asher Shlocha Hashem Lishoach David LaMelech HaYisrael. He sent David. He sent him to anoint David to be king. How can I go? So he's going to hear and kill me. He should go with deceit. A glass take a calf with you. But so is going to think he was going to sacrifice the carbon. It's astonishing. God himself told him to go anoint David, right? How can he answer? It's not possible. God controls nature, and nature doesn't control God. Who's impeding God from preserving him? We don't find that Hashem told Shmuel, "Hey, you lack emunah." He rebuked Moshe Rabbeinu at the snare. Me some pelo the megomer lo nochi Hashem. Vodio semafli. Masha, it's also more astonishing. Masha Hashem Shibo. Hashem responded, "Nothing lo eitzel lishtamish barma." Gave man eitzel to use deceit. Last bakarti gach biyadech polemi Hashem davar. God can't do it without the deceit. Why should he use deceit? He can do whatever he wants. He's God. So all Torah is to do the Ratzon Hashem. It gives a Nachasuach Hashem that his Ratzon was done. This is not given for our benefit, for our pleasure, I should say. We don't care if it's a pleasure for you or not. I should say that. We prefer if it's a pleasure for you. But even if it's not a pleasure, too bad, right? It's a burden. If necessary, then if all ships are down, you don't understand. Oh well, no reason, no approach, just a decree from Hashem. I guess it's too depressing to contemplate. So he throws in that this yoke is also completely sweet. Sweet and pleasant. But it doesn't matter if it's sweet or pleasant. Hashem says, you know what? It is sweet and pleasant. But even if it's not, that's not your cheshbon. And you can't say, well, for me it's not noam right now, I'm not going to do this. Because of Meir Zacharti is called Derech Asher Ulich Hashem Elokecha Zar B'Yim Shema Midbar. Manos Cholin Asosecha. And remember all the pathway there, Hashem. Usually, that's a mistake. Shouldn't be even Zacharta is called there. Not the Zacharti is called there. The Zacharta is called there. Remember the whole pathway, all the travel. Hashem, which Hashem took you, Elokecha, your God. Zar B'Yim Shema Midbar, 40 years in the desert. Manos in order to afflict you, and also to test you. And the Gomer at Dishmam to something low, you keep its mitzvahs. Peshraja Dishmam to sub shall low to Nasu, low to Hayarachro. Don't test him and don't question him. In Absham and Midbar, no and Torah Kimusham mitzvahs. Even though in the Midbar they were given the Torah and they fulfill mitzvahs, Koni Ayot shall low Hayarachro. Okay, I don't know if I'd say calling you Shalacharov, but that's what he's saying. Shalot and Nasu, you shouldn't be the Hashem was testing you that you shouldn't question him, which of course they failed many times. It's a very strong way of putting it. I would say about that, I don't know if I'd say that's all the Torah for that purpose, but I would say that certainly is part of the person's approach to Torah's mitzvahs, to accept them even though we don't understand them. Yerucham says, nature is just expand Torah for everybody. Teaches everybody what to do, not just Bnei Israel. A person doesn't eat, he dies. There's no intrinsic reason why a person has to eat in order to live. It's God's will. But God decided it's good for people to have to work to eat for many different reasons. But even if you didn't understand the reasons, we can't understand some reasons. Even if you didn't understand the reasons, doesn't matter. It's Hashem. This is his will, and he better than nature. It's about all simple natural matters. Hashem's will and his decree. So keeping the law, preserving natural, the natural laws is like keeping Torah. And you have to do it. So you have to do the same intent. So to speak, provide God that satisfaction. What about Teva? No, and something violates Teva is also violating what's Hashem. This it's interesting. This really is what he's about to say is really a behind Voloshin's idea that once the Torah is given, the law is law. Hashem can't just say, you know what, we'll let that one slide. Because that Hashem doesn't undermine the system, right? So therefore, after it's given, Hashem says, you know what? I want to be Michael this guy without doing tshuva. But he talking say, can't do it. He lost about the Torah because that didn't gate the Torah. Shachas need the Torah needs to call Torah. All the laws of reward and punishment have been embedded or given, so to speak, literally given over to the Torah. You should always say the Torah should be eternal. There should always be a punishment of koreh, so somebody eats chalep. V'yashira maaser, the Tzedek's maaser will become rich. We should Hashem as malach attorney. And for some exceptional circumstance, Hashem won't change the general flow of which is dictated by him in the Torah. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule, which are even them built into the system. Right? A Rosh Shah, like Yohar Carmel, the word carbon outside base Hamikdash. So that there are exceptions built in, but they're also built in. So just like that. By Torah, Kenu Mamish Malachatem. Shemin Kemish is Barlonish Kama Tebo Torah Mamish, Teva is also Torah. Shagami Enakim Gilil Tony's because Teva is also revelation of God's will to all creatures. We're supposed to keep Teva without any reason or cause, only to do the Ratzon Hashem and Nachas Ruach. We may have one Shekosh Baruch Mishanes and it's a Luyas B'derech Eretz Tivash Olam. So Hashem doesn't change them. That's the creation. Okay, so if in creation there's this concept of the destroying forces have permission, and then they don't have to distinguish between Tiger and you see in the parallel in Torah the same thing. Because even a person that's tzaddik gomer, if he eats chaylev, he gets kares. Hashem's not going to save him. Kach ba'oram, it's the teva sodo sami, which violates the mitzvah of nature. Al lo teitzu, I guess, not to leave. Not lo teitzu issue pesach beisam book, not to leave your house until morning in Mitzrayim. He's got to be punished. I'm not, it's a very.
Well, how do you explain a nace then? Like the
so the
Madrash
Maharal says
that
he alluded that before. He talked about a Rosh. The Maharal says there's also Seder for Nisim. Like there's certain Nisim are never going to happen, right? They're never going to. Chas Hashem, his arm is chopped off. They're not going to grow another arm, right? That nace doesn't happen. There are principles for Nisim too.
Okay, I mean,
Every
just see, so then why do we have things that were created bein hashmashos or
that's why
those
they created
nisim, like,
that's exactly the point. They created hashmashos to embed those miracles in nature. That's
but
exactly
not every miracle is embedded in nature. Some miracles break nature.
No.
Is he saying that all miracles are embedded?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. So we don't think of it that way, but that it makes sense if you think about it. And there are limits to miracles because HaKadosh Baruch and the Rabbi Yerucham is saying because Teva is so much what's in Hashem that miracles are few, far between, and limited. Right? Chazal, there's a famous case in Chazal where the father's wife died, and he needed to nurse his child, and he started nursing the child. And Chazal say, at first they say, well, look what a great guy is, the miracle happened to him. And they say, no, he's not a great guy because he changed Teva. And changing Teva is not a good miracle. So whatever the miracle was, but Lamaisa, he's saying that Teva is even when Hashem says to do something, you have to cheshbon how that works out with Teva. You can't say, well, Hashem commanded me, that's that. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a powerful idea. Kill me. He didn't ask, well, how is it possible that you could protect me, please? But he knows Hashem can do anything. And became a Shadash Usr. Lasuri it's Vasa Teva Shum open. You know, you can't depart from the mitzvah of Teva. Shal Echum mitzvah Teva Masazeh. Okay? How do I reconcile nature with your command? Hashem answered him, this is how you do it. So this is Hashem's kavanah tchila. Shmuel was asking, okay, I know that Teva is supreme, so how do you want me to reconcile Teva with the nace? Hashem said, this is how to do it. So it wasn't that Shmuel came up with a novel question. Hashem came up with a novel answer. This is asking procedure. How you perform the mitzvah. Zemavur Shoyach mitzvah. Yeah, Zemavur Mashabam Moshe Parabarav Amro Derek Shushamin Nech Bamidbar Bezavachli. It says 3 days. Mir Malo Shidaber King. What do you mean? Tell him you're going for a permit. You have to do things with the proper nature of things. Chas v'shalom im yomar adam yesh Torah ve'en derech eretz, which it's kind of like anti-Hasidic, because Hasidim, there are a lot of Hasidim, not Chabad. Other Hasidim hold that Teva is just sheker, and you have to break through Teva. Now, I'm talking about Hasidim 200 years ago. Today, I don't know if any Chassid would say something like that, because it'd be absurd. But once upon a time, there was such a concept, and the Hasidim would do meisim to kind of break through the Teva. But that's not how we're supposed to do. But God out of the nature. The person can say, well, whatever's not expressed in Torah I can do. Such as somebody who breaks kalim in his anger, which the Gemara says is a very bad thing. But that's not a mitzvah in the Torah, or lav in the Torah. Mora after that, he says, it's okay, but Hashem lo l'shaber v'lo l'shlo l'shaber. Hashem didn't give any command about this. So he divorces nature from Hashem. Hashem's Shechina does not evolve on natural things. It's like he found him in his field or in a field of hefker. Right? That's complete apikoros. Okay, somebody who denies teva, and in this case, teva means logic, right? That what's good to do and what's not good to do. It's and everything is just however I feel like it. That's apikoros, because everything either has Torah or teva or both as guidelines. So a person can never, and it's interesting because here it says teva relative to midos, right? It says midos are also teva, they're also derech eretz. So natural derech eretz is something which a person can't go against. Certainly makes sense, and that's why Chazal say derech. Well, let's do the next paragraph. So be the Divrei Zal, he made derech eretz in Torah. But to have somebody who denies the divinity inherent in nature, and he can't believe Hashgacha even above nature. In other words, that's a fascinating idea. In other words, we don't think that somebody believes in miracles. Believing miracles is easier than believing in the divine aspect of nature. Rabbi Yerucham says the opposite. If you don't believe in the divine aspect of nature, then you don't believe in miracles. Because in order to get a miracle, the Malamina Teva, you have to be built on Teva, right? First you have Teva, and then you have Lamalamina Teva. It's not Lamatamina Teva. So therefore, you have to believe in Teva being Ratzon Hashem, and then you get a miracle. That's like the other Sakfitza Saderech, right? So how does that work? According to Rabbi Yerucham, first they believe that the Derech is Ratzon Hashem, right? Then they were able to have shortcuts on the Derech. First, they had to go out. Yaakov Avinu couldn't just say, "Okay, I'm going to disappear here and appear in Bavel." You have to walk. Once you start walking, a miracle can occur. But you have to begin with nature. So, Keizur Chazal Kolkach al Derech Eretz, because they warned so much on it. The Shibchos of Shlomo Derech Eretz. They praise the Avos for this. The Derech Eretz who Yirah Shamayim. Derech Eretz is Yirah Shamayim, but Gufei Torah. And the most elemental parts of Torah, and that's a complete unification of this world with Hashem. On the contrary, ain't Torah in Derech Eretz. It's also true the other way around. Torah, which is above nature, shows that also nature is above nature. Okay, it's a paradox, but I get the point. There's no distinction. They all are the aggregate of Ratzon Hashem in various different aspects. Okay, that was a good piece. I like it.
Yeah, very good. So is he saying that there are no miracles?
There are miracles.
In other words, if everything,
there's no nature. He said. In other words, there's no, I shouldn't say that. That's what I'm saying. He's saying both nature and miracles are Ratzon Hashem. So what's the difference between the two of them? Right? And the Ratzon Hashem of nature can be manipulated by a miracle, but the Ratzon Hashem of a miracle can also be impacted by nature. Because all Ratzon Hashem. And therefore,
Right.
if you even going to have promised a miracle, you have to figure, well, how am I going to deal with the other Ratzon Hashem of nature? And if you have if you have a full understanding of nature being Ratzon Hashem, then we can talk about miracles as the next level of Ratzon Hashem.
Right. That's a hard one.
Okay, if it wasn't hard, we wouldn't enjoy learning it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good. Very
Okay.
interesting.
Have a good night.
Yes, you too. Thank you.